Nailed it. Sure. Sure. So, as Jamie astutely pronounced, I'm Dave Napsiger. Uh, Brand Verity provides a service called Poachmark that monitors page search for affiliate abuse of merchant pay-per-click policies. So most commonly, the merchants will have terms such as affiliates aren't allowed to purchase their a restricted keyword list, which are usually their brands, or in other cases, they may not be allowed to direct link to the merchant. Our technology takes these rules that the merchants provide and finds affiliates basically that are breaking them, and that includes a lot of the tricky things that we'll talk about in a bit that we see affiliates, some of the more sophisticated affiliates engage in, as well as sort of the run-of-the-mill, straightforward, easy to find stuff. Yes. Yep. So I mean, we see geo-targeting and day parting. So they'll, Zappos is based in Las Vegas. They would run their ads in states other than Nevada or cities other than Las Vegas. Day parting, they'd run them at night. Those are, I think, the first techniques that a new trademark poacher will use. They're pretty straightforward to catch, and there aren't too many folks who can hide with those techniques. What we've seen affiliates do increasingly is go out of their way to mask the origin of their traffic as well as hide their affiliate ID from detection, because it's the affiliate ID, like you can find the ad, uh, and ultimately you can't take any action unless you're able to surface that affiliate ID. So you can see an ad and you know it from someone who's doing something bad, but the only recourse that you really have is through the network, based on the ID that you would need to pull up. So I think one of the things that you had mentioned earlier, Jamie, was referral laundering, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But the technique is, I think, both complex and straightforward. What an affiliate will do is they'll purchase an ad in paid search, or really the traffic source isn't super relevant. Let's just say it's from a prohibited source. We see paid search the most, and they will send the user to an intermediate domain. And on that intermediate domain, the affiliate will run some JavaScript, or they'll do a meta refresh, or there are several techniques that they can do to send the user onto the affiliate link. And when they send the user onto the affiliate link, they will alter the data that appears in the header of that request. And that's important because the header is typically the only thing that the network and the merchant will really be able to see about the source of the traffic. And so the traffic may originate at Google, but when it goes through my sketchy affiliate site.com, the network and the merchant will see my sketchy affiliate site.com and all of their data. And many times the affiliate will build a very credible looking landing page. And so you can go to myaffiliatesite.com/merchant1, and there's this great blog post and review, and that looks like, oh my gosh, this could totally convert. But in reality, it's traffic that's originating elsewhere, and being laundered to really sort of trick the prying eyes that might go and look to see what's going on. Yep, exactly. And because I think what will happen in a lot of cases, a merchant will see a transaction and they'll get the data of where that visitor came from, and there's just a natural curiosity to go and see how their product and service is being promoted, and so they go and visit the page that shows in the refer, and if it looks legit, if it looks like they can see how a user could see what's on that, read that content, view that content, and ultimately go through and make a purchase, uh, any suspicions will be allayed that they might otherwise have. If that value is blank, which I think happens in a lot of the unsophisticated affiliates, where they'll use JavaScript to blank the refer. That sort of raises suspicions, but the increasingly more sophisticated affiliates will make something look legit, so that you sort of get bought into this process of that they're adding value into your marketing campaign. It's really hard. Up to this point, their best defense is usually a selection of browser plugins that browser plugins slash a what's the best way to describe it? Sort of carefully selected searches. So you can go and conduct a few searches and find an ad that you think might not be yours. Most of the big browsers have got plugins that you can use to log the refers that you go through in IE. It's IE debug bar, and Firefox we like live HTTP headers a lot. There's probably an equivalent for Chrome and Safari, but we haven't really looked for them. Uh, yeah, exactly. Well, probably. I would say, up until a few months back, that would be true. The the affiliates are getting smarter about hiding their ID. So you might discover that something sketchy is going on, but you wouldn't necessarily discover who is conducting the abuse. We've seen affiliates now begin to look a lot more closely at you, the visitor, and to try and determine whether or not they should show you their affiliate link or not. Obviously, if you're a regular user that's going to make a purchase, they want to show you the link. If you're Jamie Birch or David Knapsiger, you don't want to show us the link, because that will be one step closer to you getting caught and having your having an unfriendly email received from the affiliate. Yeah. Right. Oh man. Right. Awesome. Right. Your frequent locations. Yeah, totally. You've got Foursquare and Twitter and TripIt. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yep. Well, no, you think about the yes. So if you think about the things that an affiliate likely knows about you, certainly it's where you sit and to some extent where you travel. They'll also know your IP address. So whenever you send them an email, that typically gets attached by most clients, and so they can tell Google and the other engines to never show an IP address or never show an ad to that IP address. They may know the browser that you use, which can be sort of provide some information. And then the thing that we've seen them doing recently is they'll also know what sites you visit. And if you think about the sites that an affiliate manager visits, there are a few of them that a normal user would never go to. So CJ's login page, or the link share login page, login page for one of our tools. We've even seen them target the outsourced, like the Outlook Web Access URLs for merchants. So they know that merchants that their employees use this URL to access Outlook on the road. And whenever your browser visits many of these pages, these sites, it will keep a record of which pages you've seen before. And that gets used a number of different ways, but most importantly, when you go and visit a site and there's a link that you've clicked on before, the browser will show you that link in a different color. So you know that you've been there before and you may not necessarily repeat your steps. So the affiliates are taking advantage of that information that the browser yields, and effectively they're hacking the browser by giving it a bunch of links to say, hey, has this person ever visited these links before? And if the browser would normally turn one of them a different color, then the affiliate says, aha, I think this might be Jamie Birch or somebody who works for my partner. And don't think we should show them our affiliate link. And so they'll send you directly to the merchant and bypass their affiliate link. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a great website called whattheinternetknowsaboutyou.com. And it's literally spell that out, whattheinternetknowsaboutyou.com. And when you visit that site, it performs a massive check on your browser history. And it literally takes 10, sometimes 20 seconds as it goes to this list of hundreds of thousands of sites to see where you've been. And then it shows it back to you. And so you get a decent amount of your browser history shown in a list of, oh, look, Jamie went to NewYorkTimes.com this morning, and the various other sites that you might have been to since you've last kind of cleared the browser. The list that we've seen this particular affiliate, and it could well be a collection of them that we've seen them use a number of different IDs. Uses is very compact and it's very quick, so you won't necessarily notice the check happening. Probably won't notice the check happening. Then if you study your URL, the bar at the top of your URL, you might see something flicker through that raises a question, or at the bottom, where the requests are getting loaded from. But for the most part, it's just happening really quickly, and which is important from Google's eyes, because if it takes too long, Google's going to lower the quality score and the ads are going to get compressed. But when it happens very quickly, the user doesn't really know any different, and the investigating affiliate manager might not know any different either. And incidentally, once you've visited that page and they've determined that you're someone that they don't want to show their link to, they'll then most likely take your IP address, put it in a database, and never show you the link if you ever come from that IP address again. So they're pretty smart about the information that they have access to and using it to kind of hide their behavior. They also now know that you're looking for them, and so that they might shut down the program or transfer it to a different account or something like that, because they don't want to put their prior commissions at risk. And we've had a couple of good conversations on some of those panels. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think Graham also made a great point. He talked about structuring incentives in a way that encourages affiliates to combine the behavior in those accounts. So basically, give high performers greater reward so that the affiliate's much more likely to, rather than run 5 accounts, let's say maybe they run 2 accounts that cross that threshold, which increases the exposure with which you're likely to find them. Yeah, sure. Well, and no, and it's not. I mean, so you're certainly one of the most seasoned folks out there. Somebody who's running a program that they just inherited that hasn't done this. It's not a skill set that they really should have. To sort of look for this type of abuse. Um, but at the same time, it's something which exists, and you kind of need to be. I think it helps to be aware of the things you're doing. Much like you're sort of like, hey, well, let's understand this further. What were they doing, and how was it working? Um, but you kind of need to be aware of what's happening so that things that might look suspicious would encourage you to dig deeper. Like I'm sure that you've got a number of things that you look at when you bring an affiliate into a program, and as they continue to produce in the program, and there's certainly some of those things that might raise a flag to you because you've been in the industry so long that wouldn't raise a flag to somebody who's new and this is their first time managing an affiliate program, let's say. Oh, I think we lost a connection. Can you hear me? I'm trying. No, not at all. Oh, actually, no. Actually, that's not entirely true. Um, we haven't talked much about this just yet, and I think we'll probably put together a post shortly. Um, we've begun to see direct traffic relationships independent of affiliate programs. I mean, it's basically some sort of a partner with an affiliate that is effectively doing the same thing, but they're doing it with cookie stuffing. So if you run banners, let's say, and a partner of yours that you've paid to display this banner will get compensated either on a per view or kind of per click basis. And the way that the merchant will evaluate that relationship is how that traffic converts. Ultimately, like if you're paying a $5 CPM, and you got a sort of a conversion hurdle to clear. So we've actually now seen guys that might have been affiliates, might have been compensated at one point through the affiliate channel, that are taking these direct relationships with the merchant, buying search ads on the brand, and on an interstitial page showing an iframed image of the banner for just a split second, and then sending the user through that banner to the ultimate landing page for the banner. So again, the user doesn't see anything that's happening, but the metrics for how this ad partner is performing look great to the merchant because the conversion rate on brand traffic is much higher than non, and it's being peppered with I would expect a lot of low value banners scattered on sites that don't convert, but there's enough conversion being driven from the branded searches that is happening. But in general, your broader point is absolutely correct. This isn't the type of thing which you see in other marketing channels. So I think in a lot of cases, many just didn't know it was possible. Um, they didn't know that an affiliate could replace their in-house ad. No, because they're like, oh, well, we run pay-per-click is the most common thing to see. We have all of those ads. And it's a surprise to them that that ad, which they think that is theirs, that looks like theirs, that has their display URL, was actually purchased by an affiliate. And then, as you sort of go through the tiers of affiliate manager sophistication, it kind of increases. Oh, I didn't know that they could use that technique. I didn't know to look for that. And inevitably, you sort of get to a point where the affiliates that are doing this are really smart and very sophisticated. And not, I mean, a small subset of them. I think that a lot of people just sort of try it on a whim to see how they perform, or by accident, or whatever else the case might be. But a small subset are really smart and really sophisticated, and the amount of ingenuity they apply. Yeah, I know, no, no, I know. That's the thing. Like these guys are so smart, and it's just fascinating that they could be killing it in if they were sort of engaged properly in an affiliate program, um, and they for whatever reason apply their ingenuity in ways that doesn't necessarily add value to the merchant. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But I guess you don't realize that you're working hard not to work hard in the process. Right. Yes. 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 Yes, to some extent. I think, in many cases, an affiliate might lose a cookie to this behavior. And so they're, I think, unhappy about it. Um, Certainly, I think some of the affiliates on sort of the long time affiliates that kind of recognize where sources of value come from on some of the forums are very vocal about the type of abuse that they see, and are certainly very happy to see it to see it ceased, because they very often will lose money to that behavior. Um, and then there's, I think, a host of other affiliates that just want to do what they do and continue doing it well, and um, and want the sort of the program to just be clean as it is. But if the program's a little dirty, they might not necessarily step back, because they may not be making as much as they would normally make, but they're making a little bit less, and that's good enough for them. So I mean, a long story. This is a long way of saying that we've seen some folks push for it. Most of the impetus comes from either the affiliate manager, the pay-per-click manager, or someone higher up in the marketing organization that's sort of looking at the marketing program as one cohesive unit, and trying to make sure that margin's optimized. Yes, absolutely. Well, they're the guys whose top line gets knocked when an affiliate replaces their ads. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I imagine that it's not uncommon in most large organizations. And then in other cases, the impetus will be driven by the CMO or VP of marketing that looks at the channel profitability as a whole, or as the marketing profitability as a whole, and recognizes opportunities to increase margin here or increase margin there. Yes. Yes. And that's, I think, I think channel cannibalization is a really uh, astute way of describing it. In many cases, I'd say a new affiliate manager might say, oh, well, the user's still coming to our site. We're still making that sale. No harm, no foul. Uh, and it's the seasoned folks that say, okay, well, our margin on this transaction was now much lower than it would have been if that had been our pay-per-click ad that they had clicked on. Uh, and so you kind of need to look at it as a full program and say, okay, well, is my affiliate channel cannibalizing paid search or vice versa? And how do I sort of align the two so that I maximize profit? We've also worked with a number of merchants, I'm sure you've seen this as well, where they view their branded search results as shelf space, and they want to have as much coverage of that shelf space as possible. So they'll work with affiliates very closely. They'll partner with them to ensure that a competitor's ad doesn't get on their trademark term, and instead every link you can click on that page goes back to them. Um, and that oftentimes can be additive to your total campaign performance, or your total marketing. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Huge. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, and even in that case, the partners that you're working with may be in full compliance, and then somebody else comes in and takes replaces your ad, and then totally throws. That can be even more painful, where the profitability of those relationships gets totally thrown askew, because you sort of assume certain things about what each person should bid based upon expected margin targets, and when that sort of violator comes in and kind of mucks up the equation, then it can create a much harder time, and in fact, turn it all radically in a different direction than the sort of nicely tuned setup you'd had before. Sure. Yep. Right. Yes. 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 Yeah. I think that's well. Thanks for the opportunity for the quick pitch. That's certainly, I think, the value that we think we bring. Our goal is to take your policy rules, and tell you who's violating it. Full stop. And we want you to be aware of the complexity of what it is that we do, and how we find the abusers. But at the same time, you shouldn't need to know and be involved with those things. So, our technology, we have both a combination of an automated process and a manual process that looks at the ads that come back from the system, and compare it to the policy rules, and in turn determine whether or not there's an affiliate violating it. So, ideally, someone who's using our service just tells us the rules, and gets the abuse along with the evidence of the abuse, and engages with those affiliates that in the way that they deem appropriate. A lot of the things that we're talking about now, our service will handle, and deliver affiliate IDs on. But we shouldn't need to worry about that. That's our job. Yeah, we've been doing this now for several years, and uh, during that time, we've gotten smarter about what we do. The affiliates have gotten smarter about hiding from you and from us, uh, and so it's a combination game of it's a cat and mouse game coupled with a little whack a mole. As we find someone, they'll try and hide and appear in a different place, and uh, they sort of keep popping up, and we keep trying to find them, and report on them, and it's we spend a fair amount of time and effort understanding the techniques that they use, so that we can be sure to catch them, and service them to you. Absolutely. No, I always go through a similar qualifying statement where the 99.9% of affiliates add a lot of value to a program. There's a small percentage that can take a lot of value, and it's not very many of them, and it's they're there, and you need to be aware of them. But you don't need to not trust everyone that you come into contact with because of what a small portion of the folks do. Absolutely. Yeah, so I started. I'm a co-founder. We started Brand Verity about almost 2 years back now. Prior to Brand Verity, I was at a company called Judy's Book that was, yeah, at one time a local search company, another time a local deals company. But prior to that, and where I'd spent a lot more time than in Jimmy's book, I started a company called Quova that provides IP geolocation data to the search engine, among other clients. But uh, the data that Google and Yahoo and Microsoft use to target the advertisements is based upon the IP address of the user, and Quova provides that data, I believe, to all three at this point, but they did at one point. I'm not sure if they still do, as well as to a ton of companies for anti-fraud purposes. And so, it was in that role that I became familiar with, what you can do with an IP address, and in particular, we sold a lot to fraud companies and got really good insight into the things that fraudsters would do to conduct their fraud. And there's a fantastic overlay between that and a lot of what we're finding here. Yeah, no, exactly. There's got to be a dollar at the end of it. Yeah, totally. Great. Well, thanks for the time, Jamie. This has been fun. Yeah, just make sure the shades behind you remain closed. I think it's all safe for work that they check. But your Barney the dinosaur habits might be exposed. Yeah, get you every time. I'm gonna have to Google Imagination Movers because I'm not sure who they are. Likewise, I will be there. I'm sure I'll see you there as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Nice, awesome, sounds good. See you then, Jamie. Take care.